Dylan's pick of the week, The Martian.
The Martian.
He's not here, so I guess Nico, you want to tell us about The Martian?
Dude, do you want to tell us about The Martian?
I've got my own fucking movie to talk about.
I want to talk about your movie.
Why do you want to talk about my movie?
Dude, because it's going to be so short.
I can actually explain the movie. You can. You fucking talk about The Martian.
Dude, I can also explain it, but, like, you know, I feel like you can pretty easily summarize funbroinc in, like, one sentence, you know? In, like, one sentence.
Demons.
Well, that's a word, but... Okay, so The Martian. The Martian's all about Matt Damon. He ends up getting left behind on Mars. Him and his posse are on Mars, but he gets left behind. So he has to figure out a way to survive on Mars. Fortunately for Matt Damon, he's a botanist. So he's able to just, like, take some potatoes, and he starts growing that shit. And that's kind of it for a while. But then things start happening, okay? Things start happening. As the NASA realizes, hang on a second, we thought Matt Damon was dead. He's actually alive. We gotta figure out a way to save Matt Damon. And hijinks ensue from there. Matt Damon tries to survive on Mars, and he generally does a pretty good job without very many complications. And then they find a way to save Matt Damon, and they send a probe back to him. His original posse, they come back for him to save Matt Damon, and he becomes Iron Man in the end. And he flies back into their cruiser, and he makes it back to Earth. That's the movie.
Nice.
This movie, I think, had a lot of potential, but I think it also has a lot of shortcomings.
Yeah, I feel like they definitely kind of squandered it a bit.
I think the biggest shortcoming of this movie is just how impossibly formulaic it is. Like, Nico did a pretty good job explaining it when we were watching the movie, but basically, good stuff happens for a while, and then something bad, catastrophic happens, and then he recovers, and then the cycle repeats the entire fucking movie.
And, like, generally, he doesn't really struggle very much with any of the problems that come up, either. He's just oh, no! Anyway.
Especially once he got the support from NASA, there was basically, like, no tension at that point at all. It was kind of just, like, shit's happening, we're watching it happening. I think it was mostly just we're supposed to be, like, invested in, like, the politics of all of it. I don't really care that much about it, though. I don't think it was very strong. Especially when they started leaning into the fucking quirky guy. I didn't care about him at all.
Yeah, when Childish Gambino shows up, and he's like, hey, guys, I think I found a way to figure things out. And then he does.
And then the ending of the movie was completely fucking retarded. It was super goofy, and I don't think fit what the movie was going for at all.
Yeah.
It was, like, trying to be, like, at least based in realism. That shit was fucking so dumb.
Yeah, I think those tonal issues are the major problem, where, like, for probably, like, 85-90% of this movie, it's, like, a very serious, like, it's scientific, it's, you know, we're trying to be realistic, what would happen if an astronaut was actually trapped on Mars, and we're trying to do this, that, and the other, you know, we're like, doing real-time space travel and all this shit, and then they just throw goofy nonsense in here and there for no reason. I complained about Donald Glover the most. I just was like, dude, why is this character in this movie?
Yeah.
Does this really feel like the movie that needed, like, the quirky black math nerd?
Dude, he provides a little bit of levity, bro.
I thought the levity that Matt Damon himself was doing was fine. I like that stuff, but yeah, the Donald Glover, and then also, like Jackson mentioned, how just fucking goofy and ridiculous and, like, not believable at all the entire ending sequence is. It really took me out of the movie, frankly.
Yeah, I thought it was really fucking stupid. It would make my, like, stomach drop several times throughout that entire, like, segment where he's, like, floating around space and shit. It's like, he's not secured at all. Like, one bad thing happens, he's just flying through space for the rest of his life, okay? This shit is fucked up. I don't like space at all. It's scary.
Space is scary. I want to watch... Isn't there, like, a movie where it's literally just, like, some chick that got trapped in space and she's just, like, floating around for a while?
Yeah, it's like Gravity.
I want to watch that at some point, too. I'm going to put that on my list.
Got Sandra Bullock in it.
And I think a big problem with why it feels formulaic is, like, obviously, in the, like, year plus I was on this planet, there were a lot of tasks he was doing, but it montages through a lot of it, or just skips it. So, like, the only time we're shown him doing something is when something is going to go horribly wrong.
Yeah. At the very least, they did make him super fucking anemic at the very end of the movie, so that was pretty nice.
Yeah,
you guys got to have some body representation finally.
Hell yeah, brother. That's what more of our Hollywood stars need to start looking like, so people start being interested in me, dude.
Right.
If Matt Damon anemic was like the modern day sex symbol, I'd be getting so much poo-tang.
That's true. You should start showing girls the fucking Machinist. See how they feel about that.
Yeah, there we go. Point at the screen. That's literally me.
That's literally me.
Let's talk about some positives, though. I think the set was pretty cool overall. I really liked the sequences of him actually doing the science stuff, setting up the potatoes and all that for the first time, grabbing the fucking isotope for warmth and stuff. I think there was some, I mean, not really. I'm sure a lot of it's kind of like bullshitty pseudoscience stuff, but I think there was at least a little bit of education to be had in this movie.
Yeah, I definitely think there were like quite a few moments where we'd like ask like, is that really how that works? And everyone else would be like, I simply don't know. And I really appreciate that it was able to like, bring us together in our ignorance,
Yeah, I think the acting was pretty good overall. I think the performances are pretty well done. Obviously, it was a really well shot movie. This is like a big budget film, so you kind of expect it to be. Overall, I think it's a pretty competent film that just suffered a lot from a pretty formulaic plot and a dumbass fucking ending with like a weird B plot going on too. That wasn't as
right.
Yeah, like that fucking old man NASA dude. He didn't really grab me at all, I'd say.
Dude didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly. And like he kept fucking things up, and he was like, "Look, man, I'm the big NASA boss. What I say goes. You're fired." And it's like, you've been fucking things up this entire movie. Why should I care about anything you have to say, man?
Yeah. I like how he literally directly caused the explosion of the supply ship, which is a massive failure. And then, like, immediately next up, the other guy is trying to let the fucking, the people on the ship in space have a bit of, autonomy over their actions. And he's like, I'm gonna fucking fire you if you do anything that risky. And you're like, dude, what do you mean? You just cost millions and millions of dollars for a stupid mistake.
Dude, that wasn't his money. That was the taxpayers.
Oh, yeah, literally.
Based and red-pilled. Anything else?
Dude, I was so fucked up at the end when they showed that fucking redhead girl, and we all thought it was fucking Howard Woman, but it ended up not being Howard Woman.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah, that was fucked up, dude.
That was fucked up. It really looked like
it. Looked just like her.
It was crazy.
Oh, I like how, obviously, the main character guy went through a pretty traumatic event and also was kind of a badass throughout it, but I still think it's pretty goofy that, like, the ending scene is him in some fucking classroom basically just jacking himself off. That was pretty dumb. I wasn't a big fan of that.
Yeah.
I feel like it was in line with his character as we saw it throughout the movie.
Yeah, I would agree, but it's still, I don't know. I feel like it's... I don't know, it just didn't sit well for me.
It just rubbed him the wrong way.
And of course, given the last film, I have to mention, I thought Brad Pitt was pretty good in this one, too.
Yeah, I thought that he really played his part pretty well.
Just like he didn't skin Marink, I think he did a good job with that in that as well.
Yeah.
He was a great demon, dude. What can I say? Speaking of... Wait, we have to do the ranking.
Yeah, we did. So Dylan gave this movie an A tier.
A tier?
Hey, which I definitely wouldn't put it above The Big Short personally. I think... I think I'm going to give it a B+.
Okay. I'm also at an A tier.
I also gave it a B+. There are two wolves in the Guapish cast. A givers and B+ givers. And that puts us at an A- overall.
Whoa.
That's crazy. Who would have predicted?
Fair enough. I definitely think this is a worse movie than The Big Short.